All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, as the New York football Giants are looking to secure their first trip to the postseason since 2016, last night's 20-12 win over the Washington Commanders went a long way as it was huge in more ways than one. Now, with 3 games left, the Giants are 1 game up on the Commanders in the standings as New York is currently in sixth place in the NFC while Washington is seventh. The Giants also now own the tiebreaker over the Commanders as they are 1-0-1 this season against their division rivals. And with 3 games remaining in the regular season, the Giants have a puncher's chance as they're looking to hold off the rest of the wild card contenders in order to secure one of the final 2 spots in the NFC. You think about it, the Giants, they're 8-5-1, and their tie over Washington should benefit them in regards to getting into the postseason. You typically see it with teams where the tie comes back to help them. And in this case, I really think it helps the Giants because the teams that they're trying to hold off, the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions, the Giants do not own the tiebreakers against both of those clubs as they lost to both of those teams. Now the tie helps them because more than likely they're not going to finish with the same exact records as either Detroit or Seattle. And on the flip side, like I said, they own the tiebreaker now over Washington, which is going to be huge. Seattle, they're both seven, and Detroit, they're both 7-7. But for me, I really feel that their main competition now is Washington with 3 games left. And you look at all 4 of these teams, they're going to have to slug it out nonetheless. But each of them has an opportunity to get to the postseason. I look at the way that the schedule breaks down. And honestly, I'm going to give an edge right here to the Giants due to the fact that I feel that both Detroit and Seattle are going to be facing tougher slates over the final 3 weeks of the regular season. You look at the Giants, they'll be on the road this Saturday to take on the Minnesota Vikings. Not going to be an easy game. We saw the Vikings just clinch the NFC North with that epic comeback win this past Saturday at home against the Indianapolis Colts. It's going to be a very difficult game. But then after that, we're going to see the Giants host the Indianapolis Colts, and then they'll finish up the regular season in Philadelphia against the Eagles. Now, the way that the Colts are playing right now, you want to say that they've packed it in and the Giants should be able to take care of their business. Yes, the Giants should be able to take care of their business at home against Indy, but they still have to go out there and execute. That is going to be the big thing. And they cannot count their chickens before they hatch. And in the final week of the season against Philadelphia, golden opportunity for the Giants because you look at Philadelphia right now, they're in a good spot to finish with the best record in the NFC. And if the Eagles do, more than likely you can expect them to be resting a lot of their key players in that regular season finale, especially since we just saw the Eagles starting quarterback Jalen Hurts have the shoulder injury yesterday against the Chicago Bears. I guarantee you, if Philly wraps this up, they're going to be going into that game with the kid gloves on. So the Giants need to take advantage of that. You look at Washington with their last 3. They got to go on the road this Saturday and face the red hot San Francisco 49ers, who just wrapped up the NFC West, and they're looking to get to the postseason with even more momentum than they currently have. Washington will host Cleveland in week number 17 on New Year's Day, a winnable game, but it's also a losable game for Washington as well, as Cleveland is starting to get some confidence now that they have Deshaun Watson at quarterback. And then Washington finishes up at home versus the Dallas Cowboys. And I think in that contest, Washington could be in a similar scenario to what I just talked about with the Giants in week number 18, because Dallas, unless Dallas pulls off something miraculous, because yesterday's loss to Jacksonville really hurt their chances as far as being able to catch Philadelphia for that top spot. With that said, Dallas is more than likely going to be locked in to that first wild card spot, which is the 5th seed. And of course, they'll get the NFC South winner if anybody does want to win that division. in the wild card round. So I could see a scenario where Dallas is resting their guys, and Washington does have an opportunity to come in and take care of their business. PM Dub, what's going on? You're saying the Giants are going to split those two games. I really foresee a scenario where the Giants go 2-1 over these final three. I'm not sure about the Vikings game on Sunday, but they've got to take care of their business definitely against a beleaguered Indianapolis Colts team. And like I just said, they have to find a way to take advantage of Philly more than likely resting their starters in that regular season finale in order to end their playoff drought. Now you look at Detroit, and Detroit, they have Carolina on the road this Saturday afternoon, and it's a scenario where Carolina, they blew a good opportunity yesterday against Pittsburgh, but they're still relative in the NFC South. So you know that Carolina is going to put their best foot forward. But you look at the way that the Lions are playing right now; they are playing some darn good football. So you definitely can't count them out there. The Lions finish up in week number 17 at home against the Bears for their home finale, and then they're on the road against the Green Bay Packers, if more than likely will be frigid Lambeau Field. And it's a scenario right there for the Lions. You never know what you're going to get from the Packers and Aaron Rodgers late in the season. And on top of that, you never know what you're going to get from the Lions late in the season as well. The Lions have been on the roll, but historically, they could find a way to shoot themselves in the foot. And then finally, the Seattle Seahawks. And Seattle, to me, I really feel out of all four of these teams, Seattle has the toughest road in front of them. You're looking at what Seattle's got to do. They're in Kansas City this Saturday to take on the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are battling to try to get home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs. Not going to be a walk in the park right there. Then Seattle comes back and they host the New York Jets. And I know that the Jets have stumbled as of late, but this is a team, they got a lot of pride and they're still trying to, find a way to get to the postseason themselves. So Seattle's really going to have to buckle down in that game, and they finish at home with the Rams. And the Rams, you never know what you're going to get from this team. They are the defending Super Bowl champions. They're obviously not going to make the Super Bowl. I mean the playoffs this year for a variety of reasons, but nonetheless, you never know what you're going to get from the Rams. But nonetheless, the Giants have to go out there and take care of their business. And getting back to the short term for Big Blue, it's a scenario where this was a tremendous response for them from them last night because last Sunday, excuse me, we saw the Giants play one of their worst games of the year against the Philadelphia Eagles. And it's part Giants, but it's also part Philadelphia. And it just shows you the gap between both of these teams right now. The Giants are hopeful to get to the playoffs, while the Eagles are expecting to go out there and hoist up the Lombardi trophy. Obviously, a lot has to break down for a lot of teams between now and mid-February, but nonetheless, this is where the expectations differ rather for both of these clubs right now, and it just shows the gap where the Giants need to get to in order to become a championship team. But nonetheless, yes, they looked terrible against the Eagles last Sunday, but credit to Brian Dayball for getting this team back on track. And the odds were against the Giants last night in more ways than one. They went into that contest as a 5-point underdog. You have a scenario where you're facing a team at home that is just coming off of their bye, a team that you faced 2 weeks ago, and you tied. And I mean, both teams in that contest did have their opportunities to win, just like it was last night. There's not a lot of difference between Washington and New York right now. Two scrappy teams that play hard, limited in certain parts of what they can and cannot do, but they're going to give you everything that they have for 60 minutes. And we saw that again last night from the Giants. Saquon Barkley, I continue to say it, he's the heart and soul of this team. Brian Dayball has found a way to get him going. And if you look historically throughout Barkley's career, he's had some of his better running games against Washington. Same thing can be said for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has his best record head to head against any team in the NFL versus Washington. And of course, he didn't throw any touchdowns last night, but he was still very efficient. And then, of course, this Giants defense, they got back to business. And a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau, you're seeing why he was a first round pick. You're seeing why he was so coveted. And to me, I think this is a guy who is really starting to figure it out. Too often, people expect early picks, regardless of the sport, to come in right away and be an impact player. Doesn't work like that for everybody. I know Thibodeau had the injury earlier in training camp, and it took some time for him to get caught up to speed. But now you're seeing him get his legs. But more importantly, I feel like the game is slowing down for him. And in recent games, he's been close. He's been close to getting those sacks. You could see that motor is going. And, he got the strip sack, fumble, scoop, and score last night, which was big for the Giants as they were able to go out there and get some momentum early, put Washington in a deficit, and basically keep Washington in a deficit all evening long as they were able to go out there and get a win. So, nonetheless, the Giants went out there and took care of their business. And this is a big win for this team because, again, you've now given yourself a little bit of cushion. They still got to go out there and take care of their business, yes, but they have given themselves a cushion, and now they get one of the tiebreakers here, which is going to be big for them. So at the end of the day, the $1 million question for me, uh, waste of space was going on. He said you come by stealing the hack collection. That's a good one, man. I appreciate that. But the $1 million question is when the regular season ends, will Big Blue still be playing? And honestly, the way things are shaping, I think the answer is yes. I really do think that the Giants' body of work, and I know this is not the NCAA tournament or teams trying to, qualify for the college football playoff. No, you got to go out there and take care of your business. Yes. But I think the Giants' body of work overall throughout the season has really put them in a good spot. You think back to their quick 6-1 start to begin the year. And then from there, they were actually 7-2. And yes, they faltered as the competition has gotten better, but they've responded. And I think overall, they've got themselves an opportunity to go out there and win. Zigzag, what's going on? You believe the Giants are definitely a playoff team? And guess what? I think that they get in as well. And I think when the Giants get in, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for everybody involved on this team because you look at a lot of these guys that are playing for the Giants right now, they have not tasted playoff football in the NFL. And you think about it, guys work hard all week long, going out there practicing, fighting, scrapping, and clawing for 60 minutes on Sunday. And obviously, you want to see the results for the work that you put in throughout the week. And now they're seeing that with Brian Dayball leading the way. But I think they're going to be rewarded. And I think they'll get, when it's all said and done, they'll get to the postseason. I don't think anybody from the Giants fan base should go out there and worry about procuring home tickets for a playoff game because I don't think they're going to be playing at MetLife Stadium at any point. But nonetheless, I think it'd be great for this fan base, and I think it'll also be great for the psyche of this young team. And of course, it helps the foundation that both Brian Dayball and Joe Shane have been building. So I think when it's all said and done, of those three wild card spots in the NFC, the Giants will get one. Last night's game was huge. It was a rebound, but at the end of the day, it was a character win because the the Giants were written off after from by some people after what happened the previous week against the Philadelphia Eagles. And you only get better in the face of adversity. The Giants had their adversity. They answered the bell. It wasn't pretty at times, but at the end of the day, I'm sure that Giant fans will take an ugly win over a pretty loss any day of the week and twice on Sunday. But I think when it's all said and done, the Giants are going to have enough to be one of those 7 teams from the NFC in the postseason. And for the first time in a long time, their fan base is going to see some important football in January. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.